What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Tuesday, May 10th, and welcome to the 9x9. This is episode 27 of the 81 square meters of the best volleyball content you can find on the internet. My name is Everett DeLorme, joined as always by Mr. Rob St. Clair and Mr. Daniel Manili. And boys, it's been a big week of volleyball. There's been some massive upsets. There's been some big wins. We've had a few champions crowned so far. We're right in the throw of the international pro season finals. They're going on all over the place. And today we are going to start in Italy, where Imiko Conigliano has made it 4 in a row, 5 championships in the past 6 years. And Paola Egonu puts the team on her back to take this series 3-1 with an absolutely massive performance in a 5-set win over Monza. What's our initial thoughts on this one, guys?
Well, after all that has gone on in the Italian Women's League this year, after all the chaos, it was so much less certain this year than last year about what the outcome was going to be. But sure enough, we get the same thing in a different year. We get Conigliano on top of the podium again. Once we got to the finals and just kind of the way that we saw Conigliano lock in the last month or so, it would have been really difficult to bet against this team. And I give Monza a lot of credit, but I never really saw them having a chance to win this series. There were moments in matches where they really showed a lot of spirit. They came back from some deficits, but there were a couple, especially losing that second match, if I remember correctly, that was pretty killer towards their chances for winning the series. Sure enough, we've been talking about who's going to provide that supplemental point scoring next to Paola Egonu, perhaps make it so that Conigliano doesn't have to rely on her for the entire match. They can just ride her for the second half of a match. And sure enough, she scored more points than Monza did in the 5th set today. It was 15-8, and Egonu had 9 points. So the best player in the world took over when the trophy was dangling right in front of them, and Conigliano with yet another piece of hardware.
Yeah, and I think it proves another thing. I think we discussed it was on last week's or the weeks before episode. I think it was Everett who said you can't win with just Paola Egonu as your main offensive weapon. And I think we saw that is a completely legitimate way of winning volleyball games, as we've seen the past couple of years. 61 sets for Paola Egonu, pretty much double of the second most player. And not to say that other players didn't play well, because of course it's always a team effort. But again, those other players more of a supporting role for Plummer and for Seal and for the rest of the team. And again, Paola's just the offensive engine. Yes, she's not going to play well 4 out of 4 games, but she's going to do it 3 out of 4 games. And that's all you need to win the Italian Scudetto.
Yeah, sure enough, 61 attempts, 35 for 61, 2 errors only, blocked 5 times. But making only 2 unforced errors in 5 sets is an Egonu performance where you're really going to win a lot of matches, plus 2 blocks. But 57% kills is just off the charts and pretty high efficiency. That's it. That's how you win championships.
But she didn't really do it all by herself. I mean, the games that they were losing, we saw Plummer not in double digits. We saw Sila not in double digits. Same thing with the Cruyff. And in this one, I mean, we saw Plummer score 5 points early on in the first set and be neck and neck with Egonu. And I think that was really the case, right? In the matches that they started having to go to her early and they started having to rely on her right from the first set, that's where they really struggled because they couldn't get the other players going. But this one, I mean, Plummer still had 16, De Cruyff had 10, same thing with Silla, and Foley had 9. So the other players were there to let her run, but she was an absolute monster. Like Rob said, 9 points, 8 for 1 in this 5th set. To me, it seemed like Monza did everything possible. Like they emptied the bench. We saw Stesiak, we saw Van Hecke, we saw Gennaro, we saw Davis Skiba, we saw Jordan Larson, who went off in this second set to lead things. It seems like they threw everything but the kitchen sink at Conigliano, and at the end of the day, Conigliano was the best team. Am I right in that assessment?
You are. No complaints here. The best team won the series, best team won the Italian League, and somehow Conigliano gets another victory. And guys, I think maybe we have to have a little bit of discussion here. Where does this Conigliano team rank on the all-time women's volleyball teams? Because they're really, really starting to rack up a resume here.
You mean like
Yeah,
over this dynasty?
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
Not this.
way up there.
The reality, they have to be the best one. They have to be at the top. So like a 76 game win streak. You've won 4 championships in a row, and it would have been 5 if it wasn't for the COVID year, right? 5 championships in the past 6 years, especially this past 2 years with a Gonu, just unreal. They big tarnish not having won Club World Championships. Like if they had gotten that, that would be much bigger. But still, to me, it's number one.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. The all-time win streak and just the way that they lost, responded, continued to peak at the right time in the season. If they win Champions League and they send Paula Egonu's Vakifbank, interesting slip there. Yeah, if they send Egonu's Caneliano career out with that Champions League win in, I guess, what is it, like 2 weeks now? Then I think that would be the exclamation point on the best era of women's club volleyball we've ever seen.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go into the history books a bit, guys. Not to derail too much because we have a lot to talk about. Ekaterinburg, I think you got to mention them too when you talk about best women's club teams of all times. 8 Champions League, not Champions League at the time, but European club gold medals, including 5 from 1995 to 1990. Also 14 gold medals in the Russian Super League across kind of the 80s and early 90s. Ask any volleyball historian about Ekaterinburg. If you guys are hanging around with any old school women's coaches this summer, ask them about the Ekaterinburg teams. Team's still around. Erlichuk Ekaterinburg, not quite as good now, but definitely in the realm. But I still would have to say Caneliano's doing it in a more competitive environment as well. So
the environment is the difference. It's kind of like the old Boston Celtics dynasties when they won 9 or whatever it was back in the 50s. It's just not quite the same game.
No,
but we have to give the old guys some credit. The old girls some credit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but that's still the day when you weren't playing with a libero, right? Like they didn't have the side out score, and you probably didn't have the infusion of North American players, namely American, in the leagues at the time. Like volleyball's come a long way since then. So if you were to put these teams up against each other, like prime Ekaterinburg against prime Conegliano, no matter what style of game, we can play side out scoring to 15, whatever it may be. I'm still going to pick this Conegliano team 9 times out of 10. Maybe that's just recency bias.
No, they have Paula Egonu. Nobody had ever seen something like her until she came into being. There's never ever been a player like her before in women's volleyball history. And if you put her in the 90s, it would be a completely unfair fight.
Yeah, it would have been unbelievable.
Back now, I wonder, they were wearing Converse and smoking cigarettes between matches.
Yeah, games changed a lot. I wanted to point
players
something
still
out.
Do that, by the way. Not to burst anyone's bubble.
Wouldn't surprise me. Something that I thought was funny, you see the celebration photos here for Conegliano and this one. They're wearing the Prosecco pink, the rosé sort of jerseys. These are not the jerseys they won the match in. They went and they were wearing the blue striped ones. They went and changed jerseys for the celebration in the photos. I just thought that was funny.
Well, I don't know if I can say too much on this podcast, but I was there for the Champions League celebration in 2021 when they won. And yeah, that was let's say in the few hours between when they won and the awards ceremony, there were a few bottles of Prosecco missing.
That's for sure. I remember that very well because they played that, then Zaxa won, and in the award ceremony for both of them, Conegliano had been getting after it for a little while.
I also remember you messaging us some details in the Discord.
I remember that as well.
So if you're out there listening and you're not a part of the Discord yet, just another reason to join. Now, speaking of Champions League, last year's opponents against the Champions League for this team and this year's opponents in the Champions League is Vakifbank from Turkey. Now, this one was absolutely insane. They were down 2-1 heading into this game 4 at Fenerbahce. They were down 2-0 in the third set, trailing 13-17 before Vakifbank turned the tables and completed the unpredictable reverse sweep. Rob, you watched this one. What did you get from this one? Because Vakifbank was on the brink of disaster and they completely saved themselves here.
I thought it was over. I messaged the Discord. I said, oh my goodness, Fenerbahce is going to win this league. They were up 17-13 in the third at home, up 2-0, and they were the better team in the match up to that point. It was over. And then not only did Vakifbank come back and win that third set, they went on a 12-2 run. 12-2. Like, it was 17-13 Fenerbahce. The final score was 25-19. It was one of the best runs I've ever seen. It was just unbelievable the way the Vakifbank, with their backs against the wall, were able to somehow summon that comeback. And huge credit to Giovanni Guidetti, by the way. So for those who've only been watching Vakifbank in Champions League this year, which until recently was definitely me, Ciako Bogu almost never plays in Turkey because of the foreigner limit. You can only have 3 foreigners in the Turkish league domestically, and that's all 3 of their wings, Hak, Gabi, and Barch. So Michelle Barch-Hackley was not playing well, negative efficiency on 15 attempts. So what does Guidetti do? He puts in Tuba Shinolu at the outside. She's Turkish, so that allows him to also put in Ciako Bogu in the middle for Kubra Akman. Completely turns things around. Tuba Shinolu, 9 for 14, plus 3 stuff blocks. And so they make that 12-2 run in the third. Vakifbank also goes down 5-1 in the fifth. And they make a comeback all the way from that, mostly from Shinolu's blocking and Gabi just taking over the match to tie it at 7-7. Like, the runs that Vakifbank came up with when they needed them the most to stave off elimination and to keep their title hopes alive were all time. They were all time runs. That 12-2 run in the third was like nothing I've ever seen in my life. I legitimately thought the series was over. I thought Fenerbahce could practically just hoist the trophy at that point. Vakifbank brought it all the way back. Now going to game 5 back at Vakifbank. Now there's no way they don't win this tournament. There's no way.
Wow, bold. That's pretty crazy. I mean, I did say after game 1, right, when Fenerbahce won the first game, I was like, look, it's going to take another 30-point performance from Melissa Vargas for Fenerbahce to win another match in this series. And that's exactly what she did twice. She did it in game 1, she did it in game 3, and then she did it in here in game 4. But the difference was that Vakifbank was able to, answer the bell, slow her down enough, and come away with the win. Rob, you just basically shipped them off with the ship. Do you think that this is the character building win that they're gonna need to be able to get over the hump, and not only the hump of the Turkish
Champions League
like championship, but the Champions League finals as well?
I'm mostly looking at this series now from a Fenerbahce perspective. As close as they were, up 2-0 at home, up 17-13 in the third. They will not get a better opportunity than that to win this series. It's kind of like the Berlin versus Friedrichshafen series in Germany. Like, if Friedrichshafen was going to have any chance to win that series, they had to do it at home in game 4. But they allowed Berlin to beat them on the road, and then Berlin at home, it was all over at that point. This is very much like that. Fenerbahce, to lose this match with half the trophy in hand, I don't think it is possible to come back from that mentally. And now that Vakifbank is playing with the level of confidence that they are, having just made that comeback, I still think that they've really had some shaky moments in this series in particular. But really, from a Fenerbahce perspective, to have let this slip away, up 2-0 in the fourth game, up 2-1 at home, and 17-13 like that, to have let that slip away, I don't think it's possible for them to recover.
Dan, you saw this team last year, Champions League. You saw what they went through, and after that lost. How much do you think it means to them that their season is still alive and they still have a chance to go up against Canigliano in that Champions League final? Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, Dan, we lost your audio. I don't know if you muted yourself.
Sorry, guys. I think this last Champions League finals and this last match in Turkey is going to be like where the experience of Vakifbank, even though they're not really the oldest team, like if you think about it, Isabel Haak still like 24. Zara Gunesh is still like 24 as well. Shansu Osba is still, like 26. So they're not that old of a team, but they have tons of experience. They have Guidetti. And I think these last 2 matches that they're going to play this season are where this experience is gonna really show itself, because I think especially Fedorov Stevic is an incredible player and she's played in big matches already, but she doesn't have the experience that these girls have, and incredible match like Rob said from Fenerbahce, but especially not even from a momentum side for Vakifbank, but from a demoralization standpoint. like you said, for Fenerbahce. That is absolutely crushing to lose a match like that. And we've seen it, across all sports as we were in playoff season, where, you lose crucial points like that. And probably you guys and people listening can relate to this. It's not just a professional sports experience. This is like a pretty relatable feeling across all sports. Once you start getting down like that, like and once you let an opportunity slip, it's really hard to come back. Fenerbahce, they have a chance, but I see this as Vakif Banks to lose, especially at home.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's all about Vakif Bank now, and to me, this is just setting up the spiciest of Champions League finals, especially when there's certain points where both of these teams seem that they were limping at certain point this season. Like we've definitely seen Canigliano struggle at times. We've 100% seen Vakif Bank struggle at times. We've seen the struggle in this series, but now it seems like both teams are really running towards that Champions League finals. And I mean, last year I almost preferred the women's final over the men's final, and it's shaping up to be a couple of great matches in this one. I mean, that's guys, we have to do some sort of preview show or something to break these down, because they are going to be unreal.
We will, only like a week and a half away after all this waiting for the Champions League finals.
Is it that much? I thought it was longer than that.
It's next Sunday. Yeah, Sunday the 22nd.
Okay. Are both matches on Sunday?
Yes, both.
They're always on the same day.
Both same day, same place. Yeah, it's going to be insane. So we'll do a detailed preview of that. So Vakif Bank with one more match to play. When's that game 5? It's got to be
that game 5 is on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, game 5 is on Thursday at noon Eastern time, 7 p.m. local time. So that will be one to check out. And I'm really thankful it's on Thursday, because tomorrow on Wednesday, we've got a whole bunch of matches to watch in France and Poland, in Italy. So it's glad that it's spaced out a little bit. And we're going to be able to watch it on Thursday. One other note that we have from Turkey on the men's side, we have a Champions Crown, and it's going to be back-to-back championships for Ziraat Bankazi. The same story as last year. You had Halkbank, who dominated all throughout the regular season, and then Ziraat Bankazi, who's going to come in and win it in the finals. They're going to grab that top Champions League ticket, and big ups to them. Back-to-back championships. Unfortunately, beaten my boy Graham Vigrass in the finals.
Yeah, it's crazy that Halkbank was the best team by far in the regular season in Turkey and came away with 0 hardware. They lost the Turkish Cup and they lose the Turkish Championship in the finals, like 3-1 and 3-0 in the best of 3 series. It wasn't overwhelmingly close, which is crazy. Fenerbahce's men got 3rd, by the way, over Arkas İzmir, so congrats to them. But yeah, that's it for Turkey. I wonder if they're still getting 3 Champions League spots for next year.
I believe they should be. They should be.
Okay, so it'll be Ziraat Bankası, Halkbank, and Fenerbahce.
Wait, no, 3. Isn't it usually
That's
2?
a lot for Turkey. Yeah.
I think it's usually 2 for Turkey.
Maybe it is. I don't remember if they had 2 or 3 this year, but I mean, who knows for next year?
We need like a fact checker in the chat on the show.
Yeah, we do.
Who wants to volunteer?
Champions League seeds are so weird. Like how many does each league get? And then especially next year, if Russia is still unable to participate,
all the information's online. If you guys like, it's on the Champions League website. All the documents are public. Everything's public.
Yeah,
I think they had 2 this year. I think they had Ziraat Bankazi and they had Fenerbahce.
Yeah, it might have been just those 2. I commentated both games, so I don't remember. I don't remember if there was a third one or not.
I mean, Ziraat Bankası does have a pretty good team. They had Martina Tanisov, like Oriel Kamejo. They had the best Turkish setter, Arslan Eksi. Like I actually watched this game, and it was actually pretty close. Like Halkbank was right there. They for sure could have won, but just a lot of firepower. And of course, Wouter Termat, who's like a Terminator for club somehow.
Crazy. He's so much better in club than he is for national team.
Yeah, wild,
I mean, but it's hard to blame him, right? Like he's sitting behind Namir Abdelaziz, right? Who's arguably he's definitely a top 3 right side in the world. So Termat isn't quite that level, and maybe there's a little bit of intimidation there. What was that, Dan?
Not quite. Yeah, just a slight gap. So.
Only a little.
Yeah.
All right,
just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. But let's jump back to Italy, where it looked like things were going to be quick, and it looked like Lube was going to set up a quick sweep, but Perugia came back strong in this one, a 3-1 win going down in the first one. It looked like they were going to take it when Rich Licky ripped an ace late in the first, but then man, they ever go for a run in sets 2 and 3 to really set up that 3-set win. They are back in alive. It's now a 2-1 series in favor of Lube. But still, boys, what did we think of this performance by Perugia?
Well, there's 2 words that I can use to describe this performance. Wilfredo Leon.
Yep. That's the right answer.
The guy's back. He had his best, most efficient game against any Superliga team since against any top 4 Superliga team since February 10th against Trentino.
Wow.
So he was right at 50% efficiency. Incredible for him. Of course, he had, 5 aces as well. So the serving is back. The 2 things that we harped on earlier in our last couple podcasts, he's got to be more efficient and he's got to get those aces down. I don't think anything really fundamentally changed in his game other than maybe he was trying. He was only 1 tip this entire match. Everything else is just bang, bang, bang. A lot of cross, a lot of deep shots over the blocker to 6. So nothing really changed that much. He just played better. I mean, there's not too much to say there.
That was kind of the take that I had too. My impression from watching the game. Leon was significantly better. Anderson was good, 12 for 19 and over 50% efficiency. And Rick Liskey was okay. But the middle matchup, Sebastian Solé 7 for 9, Mengozzi 5 for 7, compared to Robert Landy Simon 5 for 12 with only 1 block and 2 aces. So they did a significantly better job against Robert Landy Simon, and it all started with the fact that Lube only passed at a 9% perfect rate. So the serve and pass battle really swung in Perugia's favor, and the blocking, I think they led as well 8 to 6 on the match. But the only way to defend against Robert Landy Simon is to serve better. And to me, it felt like Perugia was able to do that, not just with Leon's aces, but just generally keeping Lube's offense further away from that. Yeah, everyone. Exactly.
Everyone, right? Like we saw Anderson ripping aces. We saw Gianelli ripping aces. We saw Mengozzi tricking them with the old man floater. Like everyone was serving better. But one thing they were also doing better on the blocking side. You saw that both Mengozzi and Solé were fronting Leon like he was running a traditional 51, and as they were jumping into the gap in the same that he was, and Dan
fronting
and I
Simon, you mean
so they were fronting Simon and then jumping into the gap as Dan and I talked about on our show on Friday. Simone has had so much success. Simone Dechekov had so much success with that Polish push quick, where they're pushing him into the gap. Even when they're running 31s, like he's running it to one spot and then jumping sideways to be able to get in that gap. And we saw that Perugia's blockers were doing a much better job at fronting him straight up and then jumping into the gap. And then it was kind of game over from there. But another person that I really want to highlight is the play of Simone Gianelli. And we've kind of been a little bit critical about him at times throughout these playoffs and throughout these series of not switching things up. Robert, like Leon was incredible, but he wasn't getting any junk. He wasn't getting any junk at all. And I mean, in the first set, his first 5 swings were kills, and he had 1 continue and 1 error, and that error was the last point of the game where he blasted it.
That was very strange.
Right?
I thought that might be Perugia's death blow, and they had a great look at no block Leon out of the pipe, and he completely spatched it out of bounds. I was like, oh no, what's going on here?
Especially the way that they were trailing most of that set. They came back and got the lead at 21 with Richlicki's ace, but they used Leon so efficiently, and they did such a good job at involving every single other person in the offense. And to me, this is by far Gianelli's best game setting, right? Because Leon was so efficient, and you could tell that he had that extra confidence because he had guys around him. Richlicki was playing well. Solé was playing well. Anderson was looking good out of the pipe and was hitting some crazy 4-4 shots, right? They were all clicking. They were working well on defense. They were blocking well. Like when Perugia is like this, they are unstoppable. But my question is, what type of cortisone shot did Leon get to his knee before this one? Because he looked way better, much better than we've seen him since like March or February, as Dan mentioned before.
Yeah, I mean, he played much better. And I just want to say one more thing. I have a juicy stat for you here, guys, because
there we go.
I come with the stats.
That's what we want.
Robert Landy Simon, 6 block touches this game.
Okay.
Is his lowest of the entire season. I went through every single match.
Whoa.
Lowest block touches the entire time.
As a block defender, like he only touched 6 balls.
He only touched 6 balls.
That's crazy low.
And he can get up to like 18, 19, 20 some matches.
Wow.
Like 6 is incredibly low. And so
That's
I was
got to
like,
be that's got to be Gianelli's credit then, right?
Gianelli's
100%.
credit. And if you watch the attackers, the game plan today or on Sunday was keep one eye on Simone and don't hit Adam no matter what. Like, you can miss, you can hit into the other blocker. Your only job is not to hit it at Robert Landy. And if you go, like, it's like he's putting blocks up, they're just avoiding it. They're hitting it to Chico, they're hitting at Lucarelli, they're hitting it Yance, they're hitting it Kovar, they're hitting it, they hit right into the outside hit blocker sometimes. But like, they definitely, and I think it got at Simone's head too, because he's like, okay, I'm doing all this work on defense, I'm not getting my usual 5 kill blocks because they're taking bad hits. And I think that's maybe what you saw with maybe like some of those Leon, like that Leon blast to the corner is like the only rule of the game, don't hit it into Simone's block, because he was just, as you guys know, we were calling him like the goated middle after the last match.
I still think he is. I think you guys had a lot of great.
I don't disagree
on
with
that. So
absolutely, I think he's the go-to middle, but I also think this, like, we may have seen the worst performance possibly ever from Robert Landy Simone, because on top of that, only 6 block touches. His efficiency was a .077 in this one. Like,
not nearly as good attacking. And like again, just the nature of the middle position, there's only so much you can do, but we've become really accustomed to seeing Simone take over the game from the middle position like nobody else is capable. So when he doesn't do that, it's a bit of a surprise. But I agree with Dan's point, especially going after DeCecco piece as a blocker. There were a couple where Leon just went straight over the top of him down the line, and the fact that it took them this long to make that adjustment is a little bit crazy to me. But even just elsewhere on both wings, attacking high line, attacking any blockers that aren't Simone makes a lot of sense to me. And my question to both you guys is this change in the matchup sustainable enough to get us perhaps to a game 5, or maybe even for Perugia to win the series?
It's going to be tough, right? Because you have to go to Lube away and take that one. And we've seen Lube, tomorrow, and that one's going to be a big one. We've seen Lube bounce back, especially in the Trentino series, right? We've seen them answer. So are they going to be able to answer in this one quickly enough, right? Are they going to be able to come up with some type of offensive scheme? Because, Rob, you and I definitely talked about how much DeCecco was pushing the pace, especially in the last end of the Trentino series and the beginning of this series, and really spreading out that offense. We're not seeing that as much from them. Are they going away from that? Was that a conscious choice? Was that something that just kind of happened out of the wayside? There's a lot of questions for me for this Lube side. And I mean, hey, if they can wrap some of that stuff up, like, I can absolutely see them closing things out. But with how good the away team has been in this series, I kind of think that Perugia is going to be able to take this one and, force a game 5. And then once we get to game 5, I mean, I think all bets are off, but it should be fun.
Yeah, I think the attacking can be replicated because, I think they just run the same strategy. Of course, Lube will adjust as well. I think the serving is the tough part, because we saw a better serving match, like you guys said, from Perugia. And we've seen that's not always the case with this team recently. They've had some stinkers. So if they serve well, it's going to be very competitive. And I had a question to throw back at you guys, because we haven't talked about a huge factor in this match, I think, which was Gabby Garcia coming in and really being a difference maker. Former 2-time NCAA Player of the Year, speaking of the NCAA Championship that happened this weekend. So, Rob, do you think next match we start Gabby just right away? Don't even pretend to have Zaitsev in there.
You can't, because of the Italian thing.
And then you start Kovar as well.
Kovar over Lucarelli or Yance. Like, you can't do that. You at least have to see if you get a decent production out of Zaitsev first. If Juan Terena could play 6 rotations, it would be a completely different story. But the drop-off with Jiří Kovar is so significant, way more significant than the drop-off between Garcia and Zaitsev, that you have to start Zaitsev, the Italian, so that you can play your 2 better outside hitters and then just see what happens from there. And that's what Lube's been doing. And you're right, Gabby Garcia came in and was awesome. 11 for 18 with 1 error. That's phenomenal. But you have
their entire offense,
totally,
especially in that 4th set.
Yeah, he was. But because they're so handcuffed by the 4-0 limit because of Juan Terena's inability to be a factor in 6 rotations. They have to start Zaitsev again and just hope they get him on a better day so that they don't have to bench one of their, typically world-class outside hitters in favor of Jiří Kovar. Like, you just can't afford to do that.
I mean, we are starting to see Juan Torreira take some swings in the front row, right? Like he did have 3 attempts in this one.
I
so
see
he is
one, and he got stuff blocked.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the numbers aren't there, but I mean, like something's got to give, and I would 100% see them making this move on a permanent basis. I don't think you start him, right? I think you keep him on the bench, and he's shown that he has that ability to come off the bench and produce for you. But I think that Lucarelli and Yant have maybe a shorter leash. That being said, we've seen Lucarelli.
Yeah, Lucarelli's had good moments in this series. Like 8 for 22, okay. Yant 11 for 16 is terrific, and they had no choice but to take him off because of the Italian thing. So they're choosing to put in Kovar for Yant most of the time just for serve reception. Because if you take out Lucarelli, you're losing most of the people that you can really rely on to pass the ball that aren't named Fabio Balasso. So it's which is a shame for Lube to have to take Marlon Yant off. That's what I mean. You can't afford to start Gabby Garcia and Jiri Kovar and then bring Yant off the bench when Garcia has proven that he can come off the bench and be productive.
Yeah. And I think it's not even like the attacking Kovar is pretty bad, like actually very bad, but
terrible.
He's not unplayable. 13 for 30 in the playoffs so far. So like bad, but not horrible. It's the serving for me. Like he does not have a professional volleyball level serve. Like he's
not even a little bit.
He has like a 50% air rate, and even when he gets it over, it's pretty much a guaranteed dime. Like that's for me where the issue is. Like he's probably the worst server in like the Superliga, just about. Like he is really bad from behind the service line.
All right, fair enough. Well then, guys, it comes down to this: what's our call? Is Lube going to be taking it tomorrow, or are we going to be going to Game 5 at Perugia? Rob, we're going to start with you.
I'm calling Game 5.
Okay, Dan.
I'm wearing the Leon jersey, so I got to call it Game 5 as well.
You got to show this off for a second for us.
I did earlier.
Okay,
beautiful.
Fair enough.
Everett, you picking Game 5, or you think this is Lube's tomorrow?
I think I'm picking Game 5. Right, like as I said, I think that we've seen the away team in these playoffs in general have the upper hand for some reason. And yeah, like I think that we're going to be going to 5. I think that this Perugia team is too good, but then again, that's also what I thought last year. And Lube took it in 4.
Well, you know what that means? We are now guaranteed to be wrong. And congrats to Lube on winning the title tomorrow.
Well, you guys,
let's move on.
Yeah. Well, first, real quick, make sure to check that game out. It's going to be going down at 2:45 Eastern time, 1:45 Central time. If you're like Rob, and that's 8:45. It's so late in Europe. Why do games start so late like that?
Pretty late.
Check that out on Volleyball World TV. If you don't have a subscription, come over to the Discord. I'm sure someone will be posting another type of link, and if not, I'm sure we'll be getting a voice chat going down on the Discord as well. So make sure you come join for this one. Should be a good one. Now, moving forward, before we get to a few other notes, we are bringing something back. We are bringing that volleyball store back. It is live again. So if you want to get your 9x9 merch, if you want to get your spicy volleyball merch, if you want to get your Make Volleyball Great merch,
I love that one.
Head over to thatvolleyball.store. Rob, I know you have some of the gear. My original order got lost in the mail, and I only got my refund for it now. So I've got another order coming. Don't worry, Dan. I've got some for you, but you guys should check it out, get some gear, support the Discord, support us, and look good while you do it.
Yeah, I've got the spicy volleyball sticker on the back of my laptop here, which I absolutely love.
Nice. Oh, I should get a couple of those. But
yeah, remind me. I ordered a couple thousand VLA stickers. I'm going to bring them to Ottawa for some of you guys.
Ooh, okay. I'll rock a VLA sticker for sure. We'll slap that one on the laptop. I used to have such a good collection of stickers on my old laptop, but then it got stolen, and now I've got none. So we need to get it going again. And of course, that's not it. If you also want to support us, head over to BetUS and use the code Volley125 for 125% deposit bonus. Now, it is betting season. It's the championships right now.
Dude, we had Kentucky Derby. Could you imagine how much money you could have won with $125 for free, a free deposit bonus match? If you had happened to put a little bit of it on Rich Strike last weekend.
880 to 1, you could have got it. But
so use BetUS and bet on Ford Store Sastamala to win the Champions League next year. Make yourself some money.
Okay.
Is that the longest odds? And
I bet if they are in the Champions League, they definitely should be the longest odds.
Did they win Finland? I don't even know. But yeah, head over to BetUS, America's favorite sports book. They've been around since 1994. They are true OGs. We got the NBA playoffs going on in full swing. There's like a million baseball games every single day, so you can bet on those one too. Tennis is getting into it. Golf is getting into it. F1 is getting real spicy. So head over to BetUS, use the code Volley125. You get $125 deposit bonus when you deposit $100 or more. Blair Lambert saying that his mom won $2,400 on Rich Strike on Saturday. So
no,
we know that the legend Blair Lambert likes to spend some time in Vegas.
What's that? $3 down for 2,400 return, or 30?
Okay.
30? I can't do math.
Did she put $3 on every horse though?
Probably. So still, what an unbelievable return.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, check it out. If you're not only going to support yourself with $125 extra dollars of basically free money, but you're going to support us and the show a little bit. So make sure you check that out. All right, guys. As we move on from the ads, Canigliano wasn't the only champions that we crowned today in what was kind of a surprise matchup. Dynamo Moscow goes back-to-back in the Russian Superliga, and they are the 2022 champions, beating Lokomotiv Novosibirsk 3-2 in the finals. Lokomotiv upsetting Zenit Kazan 3-0 in the semifinals. That was only Kazan's second loss. Guys, what do we think about Moscow going back-to-back in this one?
So got to give Moscow credit first and foremost before we talk about the miserable format of these playoffs, because it's an absolute joke, but we'll talk about that in a second. Svetan Sokolov is the man. I think we've forgotten about a lot of these Russian players, or like
absolutely
Russian players and players that are playing in the Russian league this year. I mean, for obvious reasons, they've been had the spotlight significantly taken away from them for good reasons, as we've been over on the show. But there's still volleyball being played in Russia, at least as through today. And Sokolov today, 15 for 27. Denis Bogdan, 15 for 23. Yaroslav Podlesnik, 15 for 23 as well. Bogdan, 15 for 29, excuse me. Like, Moscow's three wings were awesome. Really, really good. And Pavel Penkov deserves a ton of credit, who we absolutely love on this program. Lokomotiv gets a lot of credit for pushing this to 5. They were very deserving of being here. Everett, you were talking about the style of volleyball that they were playing. It was, at least relative to a Russian team, it was kind of a small ball style where they were keeping balls in play, continuations, and ended up getting a lot of balls to Drazen Luburic to be terminal. And he went 19 for 29, which is a great output. But your boy Gord Perrin came up a little bit short in the 5th with his team. They went down 3-0, and that 5th set was never really in doubt. So sure enough, Moscow goes back to back. But I think it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that Zenit Kazan didn't have more than one match of forgiveness to perhaps play for this final. It's the format that they play. It's the stupid FIVB format we've seen before. We have a final 6. 2 pools of 3, then 4 make it out of there, and then just play semis and finals. But for the semis and the finals of this entire league to be only one match series is crazy to me. It's crazy. There's no reason to do that. It's the only league in Europe that I know of that doesn't play at least best of 3 in those series, or at least like home and away with the whole Champions League, cumulative points thing. For Kazan to lose only their second match of the year and have it be in the semifinals and to get knocked out of title contention because of that just doesn't seem like you're rewarding necessarily the best team.
It does seem very abrupt, right? Especially for such a long season. And then they have this weird format with the final 6, and you play a round robin where everyone plays each other. Then they're ranked, 1 through 4, and they jump right into the semifinals. Especially since all the other pro leagues are continuing on, like Italy's still going, Poland's still going. Obviously Turkey just ended, but like, you have the time. Why not run with it? At least make it a best of 3, right? Yeah. At least make it a home and home, right? But it just seems weird. You had the finals at Kazan. To me, that like you should be having home teams in their home gyms for the finals. It's a very volleyball type of format, right? It's a very FIVB format. It reminds me of the Nations League. It reminds me of the World Championships. And I agree with you, Rob. It's it's a little bit flimsy, and going back to this Locomotive team, this is a team that their style of play, like you said, is just very steady. They're not going to make a lot of errors. They're going to force you to make a lot of errors. They serve tough. They block well. They play good defense. They initiate rallies, and then they find the way to get the ball to Lubric, and he's going to put it away. And of course, they got a few other guys, like of course my boy Gord Perrin, who are going to be able to put it away.
26 today, Gord Perrin. That is a very good performance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of like that's a regular performance from him, right? He's going to pass a lot of balls. He's going to serve well. He's going to block well. He's going to score anywhere from like 12 to 19 points. He's going to be that leader if you need him to be. If Lubric is having a bad day, but otherwise he's going to let Lubric run with it. But they were the perfect type of team to catch Zenit Kazan off guard. As we mentioned, it was only their second loss of the season. And I would have loved to have seen them have that ability to come back and to answer and to fight back for it. Who wouldn't have watched that second semifinal to see what Micah Christensen and Ben Norsh and the rest of the boys can do, Maxim Mikhailov could do against this Locomotive team, right? Who wouldn't have loved to see an extended series in the finals of what we saw here from Dynamo and Locomotive? So congrats to both teams, but ultimately I think all the volleyball fans are the losers in this one, that it didn't go any longer.
Is Drazen Lubric one of the most underrated players in volleyball right now?
Yes.
He is by far the best Serbian Serbian opposite.
By far.
And I just feel like he's flown so under the radar as a top tier player. Like he's been the best server in Russia the past like 2 or 3 years. It's like he's serving like 0.5 aces per set like the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's a monster
5
attacker.
aces today.
Yeah, he's one of the best servers in volleyball. I feel like just no one talks about him in any capacity. He just quietly does his thing in Russia. Doesn't get any like burn with the Serbian national team because of Atanasevic. So he just kind of flies under the radar. And I think it's a shame because he's such a good volleyball player.
Lubric is awesome. He has one of the most unique arm swings in the world. It's very like elbow based and very snappy. He hits the ball ridiculously hard. And the fact that he can be one of the most efficient scorers in Russia of all leagues with the size and the play style over there is a testament to how great of a player he is. And I hope that he does get more run on the national team. I think we might see a little bit more of that, as Atanasievich is certainly not getting any younger or healthier.
Yeah. And then on the other side, go Everett.
I was just going to say, but who else does Serbia have? Like Dusan Petkovic? Like I would much rather Drazen Lubric than Dusan Petkovic.
What about Bozidar Vučićević?
Vučićević is better than Petkovic, but I don't think he's as good as Lubric.
No. And I mean, looking at
Vučićević second.
Looking at Lubric's teams, like he's played a little bit everywhere. He played for Piacenza back in the day, with the former Piacenza. He's played in Japan. He's played for St. Petersburg. He's played for Halkbank, for Belgorod, now from Novosibirsk. So he's definitely a journeyman. And I agree with you, Dan. I was kind of thinking the same thing by watching him today. And obviously, maybe I'm guilty of maybe watching Gord a little bit too much in my Canadian boy whenever I watch Novosibirsk this year. But man, Lubric is something special, and I could 100% see him be the starting opposite for Serbia at the World Championships in the fall.
Sergei Savin's passing numbers: 3% perfect, 18% positive.
Okay, that was my next point. How is Sergei Savin starting on this team? Like he wasn't even that good in his prime, let alone like. Now I don't even know how old he's. Like 35, 36.
Never been a fan of this guy.
It's crazy that he's playing like at this level. Like and then Anton Semishev is sitting on the bench on Moscow. Like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, absurd. Blair in the chat makes the point that 4 matches in 5 days for Zenit Kazan. Another huge failure of the format. That stupid final 6 thing. Just get rid of that, especially because Russia's regular season is longer than I think any other in Europe. And then they do this stupid final 6, and they rush the most important part, which is the semis and the finals. Like they've got to change up this format.
It's gone for VNL, isn't it?
And World Championships.
It is gone.
It's gone for both, which is phenomenal news.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in 100% agree with you. Let's get rid of this, and let's just go back to a normal traditional format. No more of this pool and then repool and then final pool and then pool to win. No, let's just
one more point before we move on. Sorry, Dmitry Lizic. I'm sorry we're going to miss his breakout year this summer because he would have been huge on the Russian national team.
Lizic, very very good, young middle. How old is he? 20?
He's like 20.
Yeah. He's going to be
due for a huge year. But.
Yeah, he's the next one up if Russian players are allowed to, play international volleyball in the next couple of years. I'm looking forward to seeing him because he's just the next one in a very long line of huge, really athletic, skilled players at that position.
Yeah.
It really is too bad with all of how the politics affects the sport, and I mean obviously it has to, but like taking Russia away from these competitions just leaves such a big hole, and it leaves so many good players out of the competition, so many good clubs, some of the best teams that we have, and really for all of us let's hope that this ends as early as possible for more reasons bigger than sport, but yeah, it sucks for all of us. Now, moving forward from Russia to Poland, this series isn't done yet, but it's looking close to it. Game 2 was a little bit closer with JW forcing the fifth.
A little bit?
a little bit closer.
18-16 in the fifth. The first one was a 3-0 beatdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know what? Subtlety, Rob. I'll let you.
Everett either over exaggerates or way undersells things.
Absolutely. There's no way that
there's no middle ground.
There's no middle ground. You got to have some fun with it. But like we said, an absolutely massive win for Zaksa in this one. They take a 2-0 series lead. Rob, did you check this one out?
I did. This was ridiculous. It was Saturday morning, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
A thriller, much more exciting. Zaksa going down 2-1, then just wiping the floor with JW in the fourth before a very, very competitive fifth. This is a little more the series that I was hoping to see with these two teams. Trevor Kleveno was able to come in for JW and looked pretty good. There's still a lot of concern about the health of his knee. But having him on the floor made a big difference for JW because they caught him playing pretty well. Went 7 for 19 after coming in the third. Tomasz Fornal, really good, 19 for 32 with only 4 errors is outstanding. But Jan Hadravo was just not good enough. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but he had to be benched at times in this match. Only went 8 for 26, 5 errors. 3 aces to his credit. Serving is one of the few things he does very well, but he wasn't good enough for JW to hang around. And although it was 18-16 in the fifth, tomorrow I expect Zaksa to win this series at home. I think it's over.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, I think that this was the perfect match for JW to come in and steal. And especially with on the run of this, or on the back of this 4-0 run with 22 points, it seemed like it was perfect. They just needed one of the right sides to do something somewhat good, right? For as bad as Hadravo was, Boyehu came in, got 6 points, but at a 5% efficiency. That's really bad. So yeah, like ultimately, Zaksa is going to sweep this one. And is it to their benefit that it was before Champions League? Wasn't last year? Was it after Champions League? And after they won, it was kind of a, no.
Well, actually, no. You might be right, Everett. Champions League was May 1st. Was May 1st last year.
I think he might be right. I think they may have been on the little hangover and lost the Polish final. So they won't have that problem this year. JW not getting enough out of the opposite was a big one. Zaksa's numbers pretty good. Semeniuk good as usual. 39% efficiency. Are you guys a little bit concerned about the drop-off in the play of Alexander Śliwka? He has not had nearly the season this year that he had last year. And it starts at the passing end. He used to be one of the great passers at the outside hitter position in the world. And then just the normal magic with the goofy, crazy, like Uros Kovacevic style shots that he would hit, that hasn't quite been there this year either.
I think with a guy like Śliwka, and same thing with a guy like Kovacevic, is that at the end of the day, he doesn't have the ability to overpower you. And he doesn't have the ability to just purely, out athlete you. Like, he's not going to jump high. He's not going to swing fast. Like, he's not going to find those ways. And you can start scouting a guy like that. I think part of the reason that he's so successful is because he is like a slippery lefty on the left side, and he's just able to get these random shots, and more people get the video on him and start to break down. But I mean, I don't think his passing numbers in this one were terrible. I mean, on 37 attempts, he had 49 positive and 22% perfect, right? Amongst the best on the team. Like, those numbers are better than Eric Shoji's, who's going 35 and 13.
True.
Right. So he's still cementing this team in the service eve, and he's getting the most targets too at 37. Right. Shoji and Semeniuk don't even have that much combined. So I think that Śliwka, maybe I think what we're seeing is that Semeniuk and Kaczmarek are taking a much larger piece of the offense. especially with the way Janusz sets. It's a little bit more outside driven, and he really focuses on Semeniuk and Kaczmarek as opposed to Toniutti last year, who had the ability to kind of work his magic around that team and set that ball outside to him really, really well. I mean, Toniutti is used to working with lefties like Linil and Rossard and all of the stuff in the French system. Janusz isn't as much, but I think that he's still a massive part on this team, especially in the defense and serve receive side.
I think you guys are looking too hard for the answer. The answer is Benjamin Toniutti, who's like was paired so perfectly with Slivka, like put it in the pocket for him basically every single time. And Rob, you're right. I just looked up the stats quickly. Slivka hit 40% efficiency last year, almost 41%, and 33% efficiency this year. So worst outs on the team, a huge drop off. And I remember I've done some research in the past. Like you can pretty much look at any team or player that plays with Benjamin Toniutti then plays without him, and like you always see a pretty big drop off, no matter who it is. Like if they whether it's a French national team or a club team, like you're playing with Benjamin Toniutti is probably the best thing you can do for your hitting efficiency. But I think also a bit of it has to do with Slivka, just not people learn his tricks, like Everett said. Like there's only so many of those tricky little things, and refs call it differently too. I think
True.
The refs this year have been in Poland have been a bit tighter on some of the lifts, on some of the I guess redirection with two hands and that kind of thing. So that hurts his game a lot too. Still a great player though.
Which is good for the game, by the way. I don't like this two-handed triple redirect, throw it off the block business. Get that out of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I love the slippery slake who is Slivka, but yeah, you're very much right. No more of this chucking thing. Let's just get into it.
Yep.
All right, moving on from Poland. Oh yeah, finally you can check out Game 3 of that one. That one's going down tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon.
They're pretty friendly times. I hope it doesn't overlap with Italy. Let me look it up right now really quickly. 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So that's perfect.
So you can watch Game 3 of Zaxa versus JW, and then move in right to Game 4 of Perugia versus Lube. Another series that is has finished up on the women's side in Poland. Chemek Police once again with another championship. They win the Polish Toruń Liga 3-2, 3-1, 3-2 over Rzeszów in the finals. Another dominant performance. This team just wins and wins and wins. It's all they do.
8 out of the last 9 Polish women's championships have gone to Police, and I thought this was the year when they were not going to do it because of how good Rzeszów was. I mean, they beat Wałków Bank in the Champions League quarterfinals that one match, and I was surprised about the result of this series. I don't have much more takes on it because I didn't watch it, but the dominance year over year of Police winning 8 out of the last 9 Toruń Liga titles is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it's kind of the exact same thing that happened last year in the Toruń Liga, where Rzeszów was outstanding in the first half of the season and really, really strong. They were best, topping the league, and then kind of dwindled off and losing to Police in the finals, to Chemek in the finals. And Stefan Antiga is going to need to be able to figure that out, because we know how Polish fans demand that perfection. So congrats to Chemek Police. Obviously, they're going to be grabbing another Champions League spot. So will Rzeszów for next year. And big win. Now we move on to France, where Game 1 of the LNV finals featured Montpellier and Toulouse. At Toulouse, who has been the number 1 team all season long. They had that fantastic run in the CEV Cup, but it was Montpellier who came in with the 3-1 win away. They have the chance to go up 2-0 tomorrow, as well as they have Game 1 at home. Guys, the most crazy thing for me was that Montpellier did all of this without their star outside hitter, Julien Linil. So that is a big win for Montpellier in the LNV.
Yeah, 15-12 in the 5th. I'm curious about this series. Is it best of 3 or best of 5?
It's best of 5.
Awesome.
Yeah. So unlike Russia, France has a real series over there, and you'll have to check that one out. If you're a fan of Canadian volleyball, of course, Danny Demyanenko is one of the leading players and one of the big middles for Montpellier. He had 12 in this one, going 7 for 12 with 3 blocks and 2 aces down the middle.
When is he getting his Italian contract, Everett? How long has he been in
too
France?
small
now?
for
not
Italy.
big enough.
He's
Not big enough.
he's too small for
Yeah,
Italy.
but he's good enough to play though. He's
No.
so much better than some of these Italian middles.
I don't disagree.
But he's not Italian. Like you would never ever waste a foreigner spot on 6'4" middle in Italy. Never.
Well, maybe if there's another
6'5". He's 6'5"
got
with the
long
reach of
arms.
like
He's
a
got
6'7", 6'8" guy. Yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I think that's pushing it there. But yeah, you'll want to check that one off. Theo Faure for Montpellier, 22 for 37 in this one. So
That kid's the truth. He's going to be really, really good.
This French system is just pumping out so much talent. It's really crazy. And I mean, they do it in volleyball, they do it in soccer, like they do it in basketball. The French sporting system has figured it out. They're doing some good over there in France. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the professional side of things here. European.
Well, don't say that.
Yeah, European professional, I should say.
Wow,
hanging up the show right now.
Shots fired.
Unbelievable, dude.
Last week on the show, we previewed the NCAA Championships, and Rob, you said that it was an upset when Hawai'i beat Long Beach in the Big West Finals. Well, not only did they do it in back-to-back finals, but they've done it in back-to-back finals by winning last year's national championship and winning this year's national championship by taking down Long Beach in the finals. Do you regret that take?
No, it was an upset when they beat Long Beach in the Big West Finals, and it was upset again when they won this one. I'm not taking anything away from Hawaii. I mean, Long Beach lost the Big West Finals. We're still the number 1 seed overall in the tournament. We already talked about this. I want to focus on the great performance that Hawaii put out there. After getting past a ridiculously good Ball State team in 5 on Thursday, they were just the better team from the onset of this national championship game. Let's see, set scores 25-22, 25-21, 25-20 over Long Beach. A sweep. 6-0 against Long Beach in the last couple weeks alone. Jakob Tellet, the setter, was unbelievable. Dimitrios Mouklias was tremendous. Let's see, 11 for 22, 0 errors, 50% efficiency for the opposite. Spiros Kakas, 14 for 30. 30 attempts for like a freshman outside is nuts. Chaz Galloway was good. Hawaii was better in the middle. They passed the ball better. I mean, Guillermo Vos hit 7-14. Like all Long Beach had was Alex Nikolov, 20 for 37 at 405 efficiency, which is terrific. But past that, they only had 6 attacking attempts in the middle combined in 3 sets, which is not even close to enough. Their offense was way too one-dimensional, and the difference in the caliber of setters of these two teams was super obvious to me. The class of Jakob Tello compared to Aiden Knipe, that was a huge part of this Hawaii win.
Okay, Rob, I watched part of this game. Jakob Tello, oh my goodness. That guy is
awesome.
Incredible.
He's Norwegian. He's already probably the best Norwegian player in the world. Indoor.
Yeah. Let's show some respect here.
But he's from the same legendary top volley school that of course Anders Moll, Christian Storm are from. So let's see, potentially that could produce more talent. Come on, Rob. You think he's better than Jakob Kavelen already, who played in Japan this year?
Again, Dan, only you would know who that is. You are the only person who knows who that is.
No, but Jakob Tello, I mean, I think they said on the broadcast that he had, his 62 aces and 60 errors on the season or something. So you have a big setter who can place the ball and serve bombs. Like that guy is going to get some good offers. I definitely see a good pro career for him going forward.
And his ace to error ratio is exactly what I wanted to bring up. Like you said, not only does he put on a crazy amount of pressure, but he never misses. Yeah. 62 aces to 60 errors is the best ratio on that high of a sample size that I've ever seen in the men's game. It's crazy how good that is. And he's a threat to rip the ball left-handed as a front court setter on second contact. And in terms of being an actual pure setter, he's, I'd say, above average. He's really, really good at serving and attacking. He's a pretty good defender. He's a more than a good enough blocker. He had, 1.5 blocks. The NCAA does the whole half block thing, which I don't totally love. But if he can improve his actual setting to a real professional level, he's going to be, I don't know about Italy, but he'll be up there. He'll have a very, very good career.
Or do you think he'll just switch to opposite potentially?
I hope not.
As we saw Mads Jensen do a couple of years ago.
That's because Mads Jensen was the worst setter I've ever seen. Yeah, Alcantara is a good setter, and I hope that he sticks with the position.
Fair enough. Well, guys, as good as this game was, I know there was some chatter around the game. Now, Rob, what did you think of the overall production and promotion of this event? Because it seems like the NCAA was nowhere to be found. No one was tweeting about it. No one was on Instagram about it. No one was talking about it. And the only reason that this fantastic tournament got any play whatsoever is because one tweet in specific. That right there, Mr. Barack Obama, of course, he's from Hawaii, so he had to give a shout out to the Rainbow Warriors. But we saw Alan Knipe go on a bit of a rant in the pressers leading up to this event about the promotion. So, Rob, how do you feel about the promotion of the NCAA Men's Volleyball Championships this year from the NCAA side of things?
Well, it's embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing. It is unacceptable. And if it happened in any other sport, there would be riots in the streets at the front office of the NCAA in Indianapolis, and they would be calling for people's heads. But because it's men's volleyball, just nobody cares, and nobody continues to care, which is just such a shame, because the production of this event, at least on ESPN in the finals with Paul Sunderland, Kevin Barnett, and a world-class production team, that match is very, very good. They put it on ESPN2, whereas it used to be on ESPN, which is another issue. But that match I have no problems with. Where I have the problems is every other match in this tournament. There were two phenomenal five-setters in the semifinals. There was Long Beach reverse sweeping UCLA with Simon Torby ripping an ace at 16-14 to win it in the fifth. And then, like I said, there was Hawaii against Ball State, which also went 5. And Ball State was just so good. They were down... Man, they were just getting destroyed in the first. I wish I remembered the numbers. They were down by at least 8, if not more, and they came back to force that to extras in the first set, and that really set the tone. Those matches were tremendous. Broadcasts were mediocre. Commentator was embarrassing, and the broadcasts on Tuesday for the play-in games were embarrassing, and the commentator was embarrassing. So that's a problem, but it's really the coverage from the NCAA or lack thereof. I just don't understand how there's not some like contractual obligation for them to cover this sport, or for them to cover every sport to a certain degree. And one of the points that Alan Knipe made in the press conference was, don't schedule it the same weekend as the college beach volleyball championships. Why would you do that? College beach volleyball is a brand new sport, but already it has like 4 times the number of teams that NCAA men's indoor has. And then they put the tournament on the same weekend. The AVCA, the NCAA, like all the mainstream volleyball platforms give more coverage to the beach tournament than the men's championship indoors. And it sucks. I can't believe that the NCAA can just get away with doing this year after year, and nobody holds them accountable for this lack of coverage. It's such a shame.
It's kind of this ongoing story with men's volleyball in the United States. And I remember listening to the Net Live like over a decade ago. And, the aforementioned Kevin Barnett and Jeremy Roche. And, at the time there was Reed Pretty, who was on the show as well, too. And they were talking about it, about how as great as Title IX is in terms of the inclusion and equality within sports in the United States and the NCAA, it's really negatively affected men's volleyball more so than any other sport.
That's an understatement.
And,
it's killed
right?
it.
Like it's absolutely killed it with
killed its ability to grow for 50 years.
Yeah, with it is the least, we've talked about it before. It's the least service sport in the NCAA. Only a handful, like the least amount of Division I and Division II programs. It allows the least amount of scholarships at only 4.5 scholarships per team. Like, when is this going to change, and is it ever going to change right now for NCAA men's volleyball? Because it seems even at the Division I level, it's a tertiary thought behind everything else.
If I knew the answer to that, we wouldn't be having this problem and this same conversation every single year. I don't know the answer, but if it were up to me, I would completely restructure the entire format of Title IX. That is a 50-year-old piece of language in the way that law is written, and it completely needs to be changed to accommodate the way that sports are now in the 21st century. It has single-handedly destroyed my favorite sport at the college level, and it's just been allowed to get away with this because the sentiment behind Title IX is so good, and the work that it's done for growing so many women's sports has been so positive. But it
Absolutely.
has completely killed the sport that I love the most at the NCAA men's level for no reason other than nobody cares enough to revisit it.
It's frustrating too, because I think it's done such a good job at growing volleyball, both indoor and on the beach in the NCAA, right? We know that women's volleyball is basically
the growth of women's beach at the
huge.
college level is unbelievable.
It's literally unprecedented.
Which is even more frustrating to me because it's already in like 5 years of existing grown to be bigger than NCAA men's indoor is. And so it's not like it's impossible to grow a sport. You can spawn it from nothing. There is no such thing as high school beach volleyball. That doesn't exist. You just like have former indoor players that play on the sand and come to college and do that, or a lot of them play both. A lot of girls in the NCAA play indoor in the fall and sand in the spring. That's super common. You can spawn a brand new college sport out of nowhere and grow it in 5 years to the point where women's college beach volleyball is, which is amazing, except for the fact that it can easily be done with men's, just nobody chooses to do it. That's the part that I get stuck up on, is that now a sport that just came into existence, that all they needed is to put a little bit of resource behind it. And now they're scheduling it and prioritizing it above the men's indoor, which has been around for 60 years.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. I'd love to see them just like take maybe a couple of scholarships away from football, sprinkle them into volleyball, just give like a little bit more support, right? Because it's meager out there. I feel for you guys. I really do, because you've got great performances like this that people aren't even getting to see.
Yeah, it's a shame. I don't have that much more to add to that, because it's just such. It's the exact same conversation that we have every year, and nothing ever changes.
I have something to add. I think you can't change it at the college level, because the optics of that will never be good ever. It's just no way.
Agreed.
I think the best way to do it is create a viable, successful men's professional league, and then work from the bottom up to segue into our next segment here.
Yeah,
I genuinely believe that.
Absolutely. Dan, you're stealing my segue over there, but you're not wrong, because even though you couldn't really watch, or you could watch the NCAA championships, but the production level was terrible. You guys can watch some professional, and yes, I say professional, Rob, sorry about that, men's volleyball from North America with the VLA Cup this weekend. And Rob, can I announce it for you, or do you want to make the announcement? Boom. There we go. The VLA on ESPN Plus. You're going to be able to hear Rob St. Clair's sultry tones all weekend long on the biggest sports network in the world. Rob, break it down what this means for the Volleyball League of America going into your biggest event of the season, the VLA Cup this weekend.
This is a very, very big deal and a great sign for just men's volleyball in general. I agree with Dan. If we can't break through at the college level because there are 50-year-old rules actively stifling the growth of the game, let's just start at a place where those rules don't apply, because at the professional level, we can do whatever we want. We don't have to give out scholarships. If anything, we're giving out a lot more than scholarships. The fact that the VLA has been able to negotiate this deal with ESPN over the last literal year, and we've gotten it to this point where we can put the biggest tournament in the history of the league on this platform at this production level on this stage, is such a great piece of news for the men's game. I'm so excited about this. We did an awesome reveal last night on Around the VLA where we covered a lot about the VLA Cup tournament. I'll get into the details here of the tournament in a minute, but all you need to know is that this Sunday, May 15th, there will be 4 matches, both semifinals, a consolation final, and then the final of the VLA Cup, which is a 20-team tournament. All 8 Tier 1 teams, 12 Tier 2 teams. Biggest event we've ever run. I called it last night on the show the biggest and best men's volleyball tournament in American history, and I'm going to stand by that. And we're going to put the finals of that on ESPN Plus with elite level production and elite level commentary for all 4 of those matches on Sunday. And this is such a good thing for men's professional volleyball. This has never been done before. A league like this or a volleyball at this level has never appeared on an American network of this type. This is such a big step for us. And I'm phenomenally excited for the fact that this is only the beginning for the VLA's relationship with ESPN and just with broadcasting this level of the game in the U.S. at this high of a level.
All right, well, Rob, let's jump into this tournament a little bit, shall we? First and foremost, when can we start watching? When does this tournament start? And who are some of the teams to be watching this? You know, you mentioned this is the biggest tournament you guys are hosting. You got all the Division 1 teams, all the Tier 2 teams, Tier 1 and Tier 2. When does this start?
Friday, first thing in the morning. So I'll give you some of the basics. If you want a full breakdown of this, check out the episode of Around the VLA we did last night. It was by far our most viewed episode of the show. It was awesome. So starts Friday morning. It's a 3-day event with 20 teams. It's 4 pools of 5. We're running 3 courts, like literally all day long. Pool play Friday, bracket Saturday, up to the point where there are only 6 teams remaining, and then they'll play those featured matches on ESPN on Sunday. So live on the Volleyball League of America YouTube channel all day long, Friday and Saturday, every match will be streamed. So ESPN is Sunday only. So everything else will be on our YouTube channel, which is great. We'll have all the matches individually showing, plus like kind of a live from stream that will be active the entire day long, Friday and Saturday, with interviews and just kind of up to date stuff with what's going on and how certain things affect the rest of the tournament. So we're really looking forward to that. Just huge scale kind of chaos going on everywhere Friday and Saturday, and then focus on the elite level production for ESPN Plus on Sunday. Here's a look at the bracket, kind of what it looks like. It's gigantic. The thing you really got to take note of here is if you win your pool, 4 teams out of the 20 will win their pool. You get not 1 but 2 buys into the bracket.
Wow, that's huge.
Straight to the quarterfinals. Very, very big deal to win your pool. Everybody else, 2nd through 5th in your pool, you've got to start all the way at the beginning of the bracket there and play your way to Sunday, perhaps. The format of the pools is a pretty simple bracket pool, 5 teams. So 4 plays 5. Winner of that plays 1. 2 versus 3 on the other side. Then those winners play to win the pool. You've got a match for 3rd where the loser gets 5th. So only 5 matches per pool instead of a round robin that would take a lot longer. So that's the format of the pools. And with that in mind, you can like apply that sort of bracket to the pool matchups. What we did with the pools here is we seeded the Tier 1 teams. There are 8 of them. So all the Tier 1 teams are the first and second seeds in their pool. Then what we did was we allowed the Tier 2 teams in order of Tier 2 ranking to draft the pool position that they wanted, which was really cool. So that was going on behind the scenes the last couple of days, a blind draft of Tier 2 teams' pool position. They knew who the Tier 1 teams were in their pools, but they didn't know what Tier 2 teams had chosen which spots. So it was really fun.
Wow.
The breakdown and the strategy.
That's interesting.
The strategy of that was really, really fun. And we went through it in detail on last night's show. But real quick, in Pool A, so again, you're going to have 4 versus 5. The winner of that plays 1. And then 2 versus 3 to start off all the pools. So Eastside Cleveland versus SoCal Rising Tide in Pool A is going to be a banger of a match.
Let's go Eastside.
Yeah, Eastside Cleveland that won the East Division Cup. They're going to be just as good as they were in that tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Rising Tide and faced off against the Chicago Icemen to win that pool. That match is going to be sick. Niagara Frontier, the 4th seed out of Buffalo, and then Micah, Michigan-based team out of Southeast Michigan, making their debut. But they're jumping in the deep end. I don't see them making any noise in this pool. I think it's going to come down to Icemen and ECV in Pool A.
Okay.
Pool B is the spiciest one, top to bottom.
Wow.
So Sport Connects out of San Francisco is the 1 seed, but they're not going to have all the guys that they usually have. They've got definitely a top 3 opposite in the league and a top 3 middle in the league that aren't going to be there. So wide open pool in Pool B, and Northeast Force is the lowest seeded team in Tier 1, but they are picking up a couple guys that are going to make some noise. What I'm looking forward to here is Swede and Dive.
Mm-hmm.
Swedes out of Chicago and Dive out of Milwaukee. They're both in that Tier 2 Central Division, and they're both on the fast track to getting promoted. And if they were to happen to face off against one another to win this pool, it would be ridiculously spicy, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And then New York Pride, seeded 5th, is really good as well out of New York City. So this pool, top to bottom, 1 through 5, is probably the most competitive, and literally any team could win. I wouldn't be surprised if Milwaukee Dive, a 4 seed, won this pool. So that would be sick. This pool here in Pool C has 2 tournament favorites. Team LVC,
Wow.
Team LVC at 11-1 in Tier 1, and Ruckus, who have won the last 3 VLA Cup Series tournaments that they've played. Ruckus had the first pick out of tier 2 teams, having won 2 tournaments this year so far. They chose this pool. I was really surprised that they picked this pool and not Sport Connect's pool or maybe Team Pineapple's pool, like we'll talk about in a second. They chose this. They wanted the Phoenix Ascension matchup first thing in the morning, and they wanted the early shot at Team LVC. And I'm really curious to see if that pays off for them, because if it does, they've got a great spot in the bracket. But if it doesn't, they've got to start all the way in that very first round like we saw a minute ago. So this pool is totally a 2-horse race. It's going to be Ruckus versus LVC to win the pool, and that will be the best match of the day on Friday for sure.
Is Cody Kessel playing on Team LVC for the tournament?
He is not, but I've got one even better for you, at least according to the rosters that I've seen. Nicolas Schergen will be suiting up for Team LVC. Right alongside Spencer Wickens, who literally just graduated from Pepperdine. He's a Rochester, New York kid. So those two on the outsides with Blake Leeson in the middle and Joby Ramos setting is just disgusting of a roster. So if they play Ruckus like I expect them to, that match Friday is absolutely must watch. Pool D is another really competitive one. Team Pineapple versus Boston Bounce as the 1 and 2 could see each other in the finals of that pool, and that would be the Jalen Penrose revenge game, because Jalen Penrose is a Boston kid. He played for Bounce last year, but moved over to the Team Pineapple this offseason. Is going to be at least perhaps the heir apparent to Jeff Petak on the Indiana right side. So if they match up against each other, that would be very spicy. But Boston versus River City Flow in the first match of the morning is going to be really good. They played a great 5-setter in Buffalo as well. So that could be good. And then don't sleep on Imi Ola out of Hawaii. By far the best 5th seed in this tournament. They got a bunch of very recent Pepperdine grads. So a couple of these kids that just played for Pepperdine in the NCAA Championships that lost to UCLA last week are coming immediately after that to play for Imiola in this VLA Cup. So they could make some noise. They're definitely going to beat the 6-3-0 Slunkers, and they could beat Team Pineapple in that second match. So this is going to be a fun pool to watch as well. So that's the pools. That'll get done on Friday. This bracket gets started on Saturday and ends with ESPN Plus on Sunday. This tournament is going to be insane. I can't recommend enough to tune into all of this. And if you're in America, or if you have access to watch ESPN Plus, whatever way you can, it is very important that we do the best we possibly can on viewership the first time out on ESPN Plus. It will really set us up great for the future of the league and this broadcasting relationship. So if you are capable, tune in on Sunday.
Well, I'm watching. I got a VPN.
Love to hear it.
Yep, I'll definitely be checking it out too before I head to work. So looking forward to it. This should be great for the sport that is getting on ESPN.
Yeah,
Plus.
our Instagram, dude, the VLA social media was absolutely blowing up today. I think we got 150 Instagram followers just today.
Oh, sick.
It's been unbelievable. So the momentum is there, and we're going to knock this ESPN deal out of the park. By the way, not only am I commentating this on ESPN, I'm directing the broadcast. I have full creative control over this broadcast, and you know what that means?
Baseline cam. Let's go.
It means primary baseline cam. It will be the highest level match ever shot in primary baseline cam at this.
It'll be the highest level match shot at the lowest angle.
Okay, there
I like
we go.
that tagline. So yeah, if you're a believer in baseline cam like the rest of us are, it's just all another reason to tune in.
Perfect. Well, boys, I think that's it for this week. There's a lot going on of this week. So just a quick recap. If you want to check out Game 4 of the Scudetto finals between Perugia and Lube, that's going down tomorrow at 2:45 Eastern time. If you want to check out Game 3 of the Plus Liga finals between Zaksa Kazeshna Kozle and Giuseppe Weigel, that's going down at 11:45 Eastern time. 11:45 or 11:30, Rob?
I saw 11:30.
11:30. There is also Game 2 of the French LNV finals between Montpellier and Tours going down tomorrow. Thursday, we have Game 5 of Vakıfbank against Fenerbahce in the Turkish women finals. And then, of course, if Perugia can take tomorrow's match, they go to the finals on a Sunday. But more importantly, all weekend long, we've got the VLA Cup Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Check it out on ESPN. You won't regret it. Rob's not going to have a voice by next Monday or next Tuesday's show.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not planning on commentating much, if at all, on Friday or Saturday. I'm just going to do some interviews and kind of let the streams roll. So Sunday Sunday, you're going to get your money's worth. I promise you that. I think it's only like $7 a month, by the way. So pick one of those up and support volleyball at this high of a level.
Great. And if not, I'm sure someone will stream it in the Discord.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Great. Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in today. Make sure you tune in to all of our episodes of the 9x9 Tuesday nights at 7:30. If you've missed past ones, you can check them out on Spotify. You can check them out on anywhere that you check out your podcast, or you can check them out here on YouTube. Guys, you guys anything to add before we sign off?
Take us home, Dan.
Nope, that's it. I guess we'll do another 5-on Volleyball podcast before the weekend as well. Maybe we can recap a couple of the Italian and Polish matches that happened. So if you guys want to hear that, check out 5-on Volleyball. And thanks for the great episode, guys.
All right. Sounds good, guys. We will see you next week. Peace.